then there is a lot of stuff that you're going to have to do on your own. Okay. You're going to have to figure out when to compete. You might talk to your trainer and figure that out. Okay. You're going to have to figure out what organization to compete in. Okay. If you just listen to your trainer and that's all you do and you don't have any part of the decision process, okay, then you're just going to do whatever he tells you to do. And it may or may not be the best thing for you. One of the worst things that I see in this industry is I see trainers who just tell clients what to do, number one. And number two, they immediately put them and say, you're going to do this drug or this non-drug tested event. Okay. And then part of their meal plan is they actually have steroids in their meal plan. And the client doesn't even know it. The client just thinks, oh, if my trainer is saying this, then it must be okay. If my trainer is saying that everybody's doing it, then it must be okay. Guys, that's not okay. Okay. That's not okay. It's not okay for a trainer to prescribe you steroids. Okay. It's not okay. If this is your first show, you do not need to be doing any performance enhancing drugs. It is a scary, scary, scary business when you're trying to do a competition. And that's why finding a coach is so important. Okay. So if you're doing this on your own and you're not listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth, as Chris Tucker would say, okay, then you might be putting yourself in a really harmful position that not only will harm your physical health, but that will also harm your mental health because taking drugs has, I would argue, that has a bigger impact on your mental health than your physical health. Okay. So if you're doing this on your own, you're going to have to figure out what organization to compete in, when to compete. You're going to have to do all of the research, like where do I go get my swimsuit? Where do I go get my physique trunks? What does the posing look like? Or you have a coach like that, but you're going to have to figure out all this research. And I'll tell you this, if you have never tried, if you're female and you have never tried to, to look for bikinis, for competition bikinis, I'm telling you right now, it is like we could probably teach a master class on how to how to find a bikini because there are so many layers to find a competition bikini. There are so many options to find a competition bikini. There is a ton of stuff to know. Okay. That right there will wear you out. You'll do that in one night of trying to figure it out. And I promise you, you'll quit before you even figure it out because it's such a long process. So you're going to have to do all that research on your own. You're going to have to do the research on when do you actually register for a show? Where do you have to go to register? When do you travel? What's the best day to travel? What's the best day to get there? Okay. If you're a female, you're going to have to figure out how to do your hair and makeup. Where do you go? Do you just go to MAC Cosmetics? Do you go to your friend? Do you go to the people that they have there at the show? Okay. You're going to have to figure all that stuff out on your own. Okay. Again, you might ask your trainer, you might ask your posing coach, you might ask your nutritionist, and they may give you three different answers. Okay. This is why it's important to have one central voice. Tanning. Tanning's really big. Okay. If you're not tan for a show, you're going to look awful. Okay. I'll tell you one of the biggest mistakes I made. Okay. You can always learn from my mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes I made is the very first show I ever did. Um, I had a friend who was competing with me and he had competed before. So it was a little helpful. Okay. And we did self tanning. Right. But it was the dark tan or whatever. And so the second show I did by myself and I was like, I don't need to go get tanning. It didn't really make that big of a difference. Da, 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 da. So I went to the tanning bed, just the regular tanning beds here, wherever. And I started doing the spray tan, right? The regular dark. And I said, give me the darkest that you can. Man, I showed up to that show. I was white as a ghost. I was so white. And I thought, off stage, I look dark. I look good, right? But then when I got on stage with all the lights and everything, oh my gosh, I looked awful. Okay. So knowing tanning and knowing whether you should do self tanning, where you should hire a friend, you should hire a company, that's super, super important. Okay. And probably the toughest thing of all, when you're doing this on your own, is learning to manage your emotions. I'm telling you, I said this before, you're going to go through ups and downs of doing a show. Okay. And you're going to go, all the in betweens. Oh, I'm not feeling it today, or I feel like I'm not going to be ready, or doubting yourself, or whatever the case. I ate a cheeseburger and I wasn't supposed to. And, you know, knowing how to manage your emotions, you have to do that on your own when you don't really have the right coach. Okay. That, and any competitor will tell you the easiest part is getting your body ready. The hardest part is mentally going through a show. The mental part is really tough. And when you just hire three random people who aren't there, chances are you're going to have to figure this stuff out on your own. Okay. All right. You also got to know, you got to figure out when you actually need to show up for the event. What are all the different things that you need to do? Okay. So that is a ton of stuff that that you're going to have to do when you try to do a show.